Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Big O Nerd. The original OP is Throwaway for Jacks, posted to r/relationships, October 1st, 2013. Me, 28 female, with my husband, 34 male, together 4 years. We're being stalked and harassed by his ex-girlfriend, 26 female, from years ago. I met my husband 6 years ago. He was acquaintance until 2 years later when we reconnected. We were both single and became best friends. A few months later, we were dating, and a little over a year later, we were married. We honestly don't have any big marriage issues. Great communication, the same hobbies, and a killer sex life. Our fights are resolved in a well-articulated manner, and overall, we get along just even better than when we first met. The problem is this: his ex-girlfriend from years ago. We first met 6 years ago when he was just a random acquaintance. He was dating another lady, no big deal. I had a boyfriend at the time too. I met my now husband and his girlfriend at the same time, and that was that. I saw them around from time to time, and they were both nice, cordial people. 2 years later, when we met again, they had broken up a few months prior, so we started slowly dating. About 4 months of being platonic. The minute we made it official, I received a Facebook message from his girlfriend calling me a whore and saying that I stole the love of her life away and that she knows we were sleeping together when they were dating. I ignored the message because it was full of name-calling and false claims. I never crossed a line with him while they were together. I barely knew him. Never even a hug or a handshake. Weeks went by, and she continued to harass me via Facebook, so I blocked her. Then she found my Twitter account and began harassing me on there, tweeting things like "slut" and "ugly homewrecker" at me. The ugly part really put a hurting on my already low self-esteem, and if I'm being honest, she is a knockout compared to me. It was tough to ignore, but for the most part, I did. So I blocked her on Twitter. Then the phone calls started. She began calling my boyfriend, now husband, all the time, telling him that she saw me making out with random guys in different cities and blah blah blah. He blocked her number, then she got my phone number. More text messages ranging from, "Oh my god, I'm sorry, it was me and you seem really nice, let's be friends and hang out," to, "What the fuck, you're so ugly, why the fuck is he with you and not with me?" So I blocked her number. A year passed and she seemed to have vanished. Aside from a few mutual friends who would occasionally mention her, we forgot she existed. And then, about a year ago, 1 year into our marriage, she resurfaces. She has a new phone number and begins calling and texting him again. He would show me the texts and he wouldn't respond. And then she would go psycho because he wasn't responding, saying it was because I was controlling. Oddly enough, I told him to respond. I told him to kindly tell her that he's married and she needs to go away. Instead, he blocked her new number, which apparently just made her even more angry. Now, this woman lives about 2 hours away from us, and within the past 6 months, she has been slowly trying to join our friend circle. She shows up in our city at our favorite bars, usually alone, sometimes with some of her mutual friends she met randomly through Facebook. It is unbelievable. She also yelled at my best friend in a restaurant who was visiting her sick mother in the ex's city. She truly is insane, I'm afraid. The final straw happened 2 months ago. We went to our favorite bar to play some acoustic songs. We play music together occasionally. And guess who shows up? Front row to glare at me the whole time. Bingo, his ex-girlfriend from 6 years ago. We try to ignore her, but it really was unnerving when we're just trying to have fun and make a little extra cash. But every time I go to the bar to order a drink, there she is. Every time I go to the bathroom, there she is, just waiting for me to come out of the stall. Finally, I approached her and said, "Hello." She said, "I'm not here to see you. I have to talk to my husband." I told her that was fine, but I didn't know where he was. She takes off looking for him. I stand around guzzling whiskey because honestly I was just so shocked and out of ideas on how to gracefully handle this woman. My husband comes up to me and says our instruments are loaded up and we need to go. So we get in the van, and just like in a horror movie, she comes up to his driver window and starts crying and banging on the window. My husband rolls down the window and she throws a beer can at him and yells, "Why the fuck did you marry her?" My husband drove off. Thank God he was sober because at this point I was whiskey drunk and completely freaked out. Since then, she has become close with all of our friends in the city. I shit you not, she literally has weaseled her way into our friend circle. She even is trying to become friends with my sister, who has not taken the bait. It is getting way beyond ridiculous. We can't go out in our city on weekends without her randomly being in town and showing up at the bar we're at, and staring or yelling. We live in a huge city, there are literally hundreds of bars to choose from. The last message I got was a text from an unknown number that, surprise, was her, telling me I wasn't good enough for my husband, and that I was ugly, and he would leave me for her one day. My husband has been very collected through all of this, but we're both about to blow a gasket. What can we do or say to make this nonsense stop? She's acting like a hormone-crazy teenager around a member of NSYNC, or whoever the cool band is now. You're about 30 years late. And it is driving us crazy. Seriously, we have thought about moving to another state because it has gotten so out of hand. But we don't want to be bullied into leaving our beautiful home. We've talked to our friends about not hanging out with her, but she is nice on the surface and has sort of already butted her way in. Our friends have told us some crazy, creepy stuff she does, like how she talks about our dogs by name and the paint colors in our home, which I guess she's logged on to somebody else's Facebook and looking at our photos. We're pretty locked down, but like I said, she's wormed her way into our circle. What can we do besides move far away? We blocked her on social media, blocked her phone number, and she lives 2 hours away. I don't know what else to do. My cop friend said as long as she is stalking us in public places, there isn't much we can do. Any advice would be appreciated if anybody has any similar experience. Sorry that was so long. I tried to condense it to only the most dramatic offenses. Maybe instead of a cop friend, try a lawyer friend. Too long didn't read. Husband's ex-girlfriend from 6 years ago stalked me on social media for a while. I blocked her. Now she's physically following and harassing us in our city, 2 hours away from her home, and worming her way into our friend circle. What can we do? Glad to know we aren't crazy. Everybody seems to be downplaying how disturbed this woman is, so your responses at least let me know that we're right to be concerned. I spoke with a lawyer last week about a restraining order who was no help. Fuck. But next week I'm seeing another lawyer who is a family friend. He said just based on the small amount of evidence I have emailed him that we can definitely file an order against her. Yay! Thank you for your advice. Comments. How has she affected your friendships and family relationships? That's the thing. We've had to cut friends, so we thought, out of our lives because they all flock to her. She's pretty, but obviously not a good, stable person to be around. If she keeps it up, we won't have any friends left. We just found out yesterday that she still calls my mother-in-law crying about once every other week or so. Also, her boyfriend sent my husband a text message that said, "You win, man." What the fuck? I know for a fact my husband isn't leading her on. I'm just exhausted in dealing with this girl, and we are running out of trustworthy friends. She must be a master manipulator. She even went a few weeks ago and stayed in another state with some friends of ours she met while visiting our city. It is seriously out of control. I feel like telling her she's won and moving 1,000 miles away. Sad face. My husband is devastated at how much it is affecting us, but it is pretty awful. How did your mother-in-law become involved? And as for my mother-in-law, she isn't exactly coherent. Lots of medications make her perpetually loopy. She could never be mean to anybody. Plus, I think they go to the same church or some crap. They pray together over the phone. We gave up trying to reason with the mother-in-law. We will definitely talk to the bar management next time we play. That is great advice. As for the mother-in-law, she is, to put it nicely, insane also. We tried talking to her, but she says that his ex has found Jesus and needs good Christian role models, which I guess she's trying to be. Sad face. So that is a lost cause, I'm afraid. Honestly, I haven't thought about that, but you could be right. She's a sweet lady, but nutty in her own way. Oh, God. This actually makes a lot of sense. Sad face. Why is she obsessed with your husband if they broke up years ago? The recording her thing isn't a bad idea, and the weird part is she broke up with him. She cheated on him with his friend, and that was 6 years ago. I don't know why she's trying to win him back now, after he has been happily married for 2 years. She is toxic. We have pretty much cut out our friends, the ones who have decided they feel sorry for her anyway. It is sick. The last straw with one of my friends was when she told me the ex just misses my husband and wants him to know she's sorry and is still in love with him. Excuse me? He knows. Everybody in our frickin' state knows, apparently. Typing all this out is making me nauseous. As a quick Oz insert, this is why if you're really dealing with someone who's sending you like hate tweets or hate comments or fucking just text messages or all that kind of stuff, to save and categorize them, because if a friend said, "Oh, she just misses you guys." Oh, really? Does this seem like she misses us? Huh? Because then it's either face the reality or you're just continuing to help someone who's a manipulative abuser. Anyways, why do so many people seem to believe her? Yeah, we were banging the whole time they were dating, according to her. Oh, and we deal drugs, specifically meth. My husband goes on a diet and loses 30 pounds, and now it's because he smokes meth. I've heard it all. If we really were dealing meth, I can assure you we wouldn't still work our crappy retail jobs. That's what I think it is. She is certainly very manipulative. And I've heard a few rumors, one being that we're selling meth. Girl has been watching too much Breaking Bad, because we certainly are not. Question: has she ever showed up at your workplace? Already had to tell my employer when she showed up at my store once to shop, because apparently there aren't stores in her own city. Thank you though, this is all great advice. I talked to one lawyer who wasn't much help. Going to try to talk to another one my next day off. I'm glad you guys are making me feel less crazy. I was starting to think we were overreacting. What security measures have you taken? Have you taken legal action? Got a security system and a few cameras for our property set up this morning. Thank you for the advice. I talked to a lawyer a few days ago who was absolutely no help. I have a meeting with another one, who is an old family friend, on my next off day. This may seem irrelevant, but the reason they broke up was because she cheated on him. So I don't see why she's the one going psycho trying to win him back. 6 years later, after he's happily married, and has been for 2 years now. That makes me feel better. I sent him some evidence already, and he said it shouldn't be a problem filing for one, just based on the small amount of evidence he knows about. What happened with social media and your music/work accounts? We don't have personal accounts anymore, because of her, just one for our music. And my Twitter isn't personal either, it's the one I keep up for my job. Had to delete my personal one last year when she started this mess. Also, thank you. We deleted our personal Twitter and Facebook pages, but keep a page up for our music. When was this uploaded? Hold on. Okay, 2013. Okay, sorry. Okay. Real quick excerpt of just like something that I had to double check there. A while back, I recorded an entire best of, and I was like, oh, this is a pretty interesting thing, and like, I really enjoyed it. But at the end, they were like, my husband and I, we wrote some songs about our experiences, and we just thought you all would like to take a look at it. Opened up the channel, I was like, oh, this could be kind of, a really good grounding thing to see if this is like a real story. Nope. It's like 500 songs that are all AI generated with shitty thumbnails, and it's like, oh, cool, so someone's just trying to push their AI generated music content with a Reddit post. So I deleted that one and scrapped it. And, well, hearing them talk about their music and whatnot, it's making me a bit kind of like, oh boy, is this just a round 2 of that fucking thing that happened? Ugh. Anyways. Sorry. Thank you. We deleted our personal Twitter and Facebook pages, but keep a page up for our music. The Twitter I use is the one I run for my job. It isn't tied to me personally, but rather our company, which is why it really sucks that she still tweets nasty things. She's jeopardizing my job by making me look like a crazy drama queen. Why did you stop seeing so many of your friends? Our ex-friends chose believing her sob stories or whatever over believing that she's a deranged individual. We've pretty much cut all of our mutual friends out. She's certainly spreading some malicious untruths about us, and I think that is where this friend drama is stemming from. My husband cheated on her with me, not true, I barely knew him when they were dating, and that we're selling meth, somebody been watching too much Breaking Bad, methinks. I honestly do not want to be friends with people who constantly talk about her and how they pity her. She's like Regina George. Everybody is constantly talking about her. We asked them to stop. They didn't, so we're over it. It really sucks, but I'd prefer to not be around her enablers/sympathizers. Sad face. Update 1, after 15 days. October 16th, 2013. Long story short, she contacted me via her boyfriend's Facebook on our music Facebook page. I know, what the fuck? Asking me questions about my relationship with my husband, admitting her love for him, and then asking if the 3 of us could hang out because I seem really nice. What? I messaged her back and told her that if she contacted either of us again, we were going to pursue a restraining order, which we already were pursuing it, but I thought I'd give her a fair warning. Well, like clockwork, 2 days later, me and my husband play a show at our favorite bar, and guess who was there front row? Her. My husband calmly talked to the bar manager, and he asked her to leave. She caused a huge scene, crying and screaming and cussing at me, yelling things about how ugly and talentless I was, yada yada. The bar manager threatened to call the cops, and she left. The next day, after presenting the police station and our lawyer friend with all of the evidence we had, which was a lot, the restraining order was officially in effect. It's been a little over a week, and so far, we haven't heard anything from her or about her. Hopefully she doesn't go even more psycho, but for now, I feel like a huge weight has been lifted. Oh boy, look how many more updates there are. Thank you, Reddit, for letting me know that we were not being crazy and feeling threatened and scared of her. You guys gave us the courage to nip this shit in the bud. Keep us in your thoughts. I still feel a little uneasy about the restraining order pushing her further over the edge. Sad face. Too long didn't read, bitch went crazy, contacted me, I asked her not to, she came to our show, caused a scene, got kicked out, restraining order now in effect. Sorry if I'm using effect wrong, got mixed up between effect and affect, lol. Let me break this down for you super quickly, by the way, because this is something I always struggled with. So, affect, starting with an A, is a verb. It's an action. This has affected me. It's the process in which to get to the end result, effect, the end of the action, or the affect, how this is the effect of what has been done. Effect is the end result, while affect is the action to get to the end result. Hopefully that kind of helps a little bit. Comments. Deleted user. How is your friend group handling this? Do they know? OP responds, I haven't spoken to those that took pity on her in weeks. I'm not saying anything. We're moving on with the good friends who stood by us. The others can visit her in the crazy home if they want. I'm staying out of all of it now. User Fudawin comments. Fudawin. Just out of curiosity, how do restraining orders work in a case like this? What will happen to her if she contacts you again? OP responds, basically, if she contacts either of us at all again, we call the cops and they have to respond and take her to jail. It's basically a heads up to the cops that we have had major problems with her before and her strikes are up. Deleted user. Does her boyfriend know about all of this insanity going on? OP responds, since she brought him along with her to our shows numerous times and he had to drag her out cussing and screaming, I assume he knows. I guess he has issues too. Sideways frown emoji. User JAsh1138, who I'm just going to call Jish, who is downvoted. Restraining orders aren't worth the paper they're printed on. You should take other measures to protect yourself and your family. OP responds, we had an alarm system installed and my husband purchased a gun and license. We keep it locked in a safe and I'm going to the range Saturday to learn how to properly use it. I'm not a gun person, but the situation kind of opened my eyes to how scary people can be. The restraining order was our first step, even if it only serves as a big fuck you. We also bought a gun and licenses to protect our home just in case things escalate. I'm going to the range on Saturday to learn how to use it properly. Jish responds, unless you have small children, I wouldn't keep that gun in a safe. It's going to take too long to get to it. That's personal choice, but people don't hang fire extinguishers in a safe. They hang them in the kitchen where they'll be needed. Same thing here. Put that gun where you can get to it fast if you need it, wherever that might be. OP responds, we don't have kids, just the two of us and some dogs. That actually is a very good point. I'm a little uneasy around guns. I'm not against them or anything. I've just never used one, unless our Red Ryder counts, lol. I'm going to learn how to use it on Saturday. You're right about the safe thing, though. In this case, though, I don't know. Get a quick access safe, so that way it's still secured and it's safe, because what happens if someone breaks in your home and they know where your unsecured firearm is? That's not a chance OP should be taking when their stalker knows their paint colors by heart and the names of their dogs. That's just where my mind goes to, though. User Barbara Gordon Spine comments, Jesus Christ. Honestly, I was afraid she was going to kill your dogs as revenge or something, so good work on the restraining order. This individual is clearly very, very mentally ill. I wonder what her boyfriend thinks about all this. OP responds, good question. I assume he knows. He's very good looking. I don't see why he doesn't dump her ass and go find a stable girl. Oh well, not my business. Hope I don't see either of them again. Barbara Gordon Spine comments further. What's your girlfriend like to do? Oh, well, she mostly likes to harass and stalk her ex. You know, a typical Saturday. Crying outside your ex's house for a few hours, following them to the grocery store to scream at them, frantically attempting to contact them, and their wife on social media. You know, the usual stuff. OP responds, yeah, so odd. I assume he's crazy too. Update 2. After 5 months, 14 days. March 15th, 2014. Hello, everyone! Well, this is a weird but overall good update. Stalker Girl disappeared after the restraining order was filed. Once we had that done, We convinced my mother-in-law to cut her off too, which so far she has. Well, after a month of silence and bliss, I get a text from an unknown number. Surprise! It's her. Her text basically says this. This is blank. Please don't call the cops. I'm contacting you for your own good. I'm pregnant and my husband is the father. Oh, Lord. When my husband got home from work, I asked him if he had planned on telling me that he was expecting a child in a few months. He was confused, so I showed him the text, which I didn't reply to. He was so angry. Actually, I don't know if I've ever seen him that angry. I thought he was going to snap the phone in half. After he calmed down, we decided to take care of it the next morning. I'm assuming my husband isn't the father, lol. Anyway, the next day we went to the police station and showed them the text. They had to contact the police department in her city, so we waited. We later got word that there was a warrant out for her arrest, and less than a week later, we got a call saying that she was in custody. When we received the news, we both kind of freaked out, both with relief and fear. Obviously, she won't be there forever. That was a few months ago, and we haven't heard from her since. Word around my mother-in-law's church is that she is definitely pregnant and is working at some pizza joint. Good for her. I don't care what she's doing, as long as she's far away from us. As for the baby, I don't think it's my husband, but we're gonna let Murray decide once it's born. That's a Jerry Springer joke. It's a competitor to Jerry Springer. JK, I trust my husband to never cheat on me. And if he ever did, I hope he would have better taste than that crazy pants. Too long didn't read. Stalker bitch got put in jail. She is out now and pregnant, and hopefully her future bundle of joy will keep her occupied and away from us. Life is good again. Comments. Callisti Gold comments. Just one word of caution. She might name your hubby as the father on the birth certificate, in which case he'd need to get a paternity test. So while it might be over, it might not. Opie responds, yeah, we were wondering what the deal with that is. She has a boyfriend, so we assume it's his kid, but who knows? My husband said he would gladly take a paternity test if it came down to it, but what a crock of shit. I really hope it doesn't come to all that. Hopefully jail calmed her ass down, but on second thought, those pregnancy hormones might make her crazier. User Viper17 comments, so she just texted it and didn't go spread it to your friends and acquaintances? Hopefully she doesn't go getting single, back on the Fruit Loops and doing her crazy shit again. Opie responds, we don't speak to the friends of ours that chose to stick by her. A few of them apologized once she got arrested, but we still keep our distance. I'm sure she's told them though. User Bad Luck Gina comments, why did he ever date her in the first place? Was she just excellent at hiding the crazy? Opie responds, it's because she's insanely beautiful. Emphasis on insane, obviously. And I don't think she hid it very well. I know that once he, my husband, caught her cheating with his friend, she attacked him and punched him and spit on him. The cops took her away, this time too. Just drove her to her mom's house and told her to stay away from my husband. This was all 6 years ago. It sounds like, according to my husband, she started off sane and gradually went downhill. User Shrewdoozer comments, I don't know your husband, but I think it's odd that he got that angry and emotional about the text. What? OP responds, it was out of character for him, but if you read the first 2 posts, you'll see that she has made our lives hell for the last 2 years. I think this was just his breaking point. I think it's perfectly reasonable for him to be angry that his stalker, who's been harassing him for years and tried to sabotage all of his personal relationships, just tried to accuse him of cheating on his wife when she cheated on him, and she's now pregnant with his child, and yeah, that's gonna make a lot of emotions flare up. Dead Peak Panther, who was downvoted, comments, I think your hubby did bang the crazy ex, but I guess we'll wait and see. OP responds, I don't think so. I'm not naive. I've been cheated on by men in the past, and I know people can be shitty, but I don't think my husband is one of those people. Apparently, we will find out though. If he does end up taking a paternity test, although he was gun-ho about taking one ASAP to clear his name, so I doubt it. Dead Pink Panther, downvoted, comments again, alright, I guess it might very well be that way. I just kind of expect the fucking worst of people. Usually when someone posts shady stuff about their problems like that on Reddit, there's a high chance that it's really bad. Best of luck. OB responds, I'm the same way. Always assume the worst. If this was even a semi-sane girl, I would be freaking out about the paternity claim, but after hearing about her bragging about false claims and physically assaulting people and the stalking, I think this is just another manipulation and I'm not concerned about the paternity outcome. I just want her gone. Opie's responds to a deleted comment. My husband is very good looking and was in a pretty big rock band for years. She isn't the only girl who's obsessed with him. Unfortunately, she's the only one that bothers me. The others are harmless fans. Final update. After 9 months and 7 days. July 8th, 2014. This is finally the real final update. I'll make this short. It's a very happy update for me and my husband anyway. After more harassment and crazy rumors, we were able to get a parental paternity test done. To our surprise, not. My husband is not the child's father. I don't think we'll be seeing her for a long time. According to my mother-in-law, Stalker Girl's mom has custody of her child because Stalker Girl is serving a year's sentence in jail for stealing thousands of dollars from the restaurant she worked at over the course of the last few months. I honestly can't even feel bad for her because I'm so happy for us. Karma finally kicked her in the butt. I hope her child is well taken care of, and I hope a year in jail does her some good. Although I don't think jail is known for making unstable people more stable. But anyway, Stalker Girl is locked up, my husband isn't her baby's father, and life is normal and happy again. Smiley face. Thank you guys for your support. Too long didn't read, my husband ain't the baby daddy, and Stalker Chick is in jail for stealing large sums of money from her place of work. Life feels good again. Smiley face. Comments deleted. I'm happy for you. She deserves time in prison. User Sabine Levine comments, she deserves serious help with her mental health. OP responds, I know. I'm really glad she's gone, but she's a mother now. The woman in me is really sad for her. I wish she could get help and be around her child. Unfortunately, jail isn't going to help her at all. KEYZ. I remember all of your previous posts. You handled it perfectly from start to finish, and I'm so happy to see that you've gotten some justice. Far too many times these cases get swept under the rug, especially if the stalker is female. And the truth is, we have no idea what the depths this woman was capable of. Good on you for remaining a team with your partner. Onward and upward. OP responds, I'm so thankful I brought the problem to Reddit. It sounds so dumb, but because I didn't feel my marriage was threatened, I was sweeping her behaviors under the rug. I never once considered my life might be threatened. I was taking it way too lightly. I'm glad justice has been served, and I'm glad I can go play shows now without panic setting in. User Crackle. Was she also penalized for violating the restraining order by texting you? OP responds, yeah, she did spend time in jail when this pregnancy thing all started due to breaking the restraining order, but I think it was only a few days. User Scream Punch. How long is her sentence? OP responds, my mother-in-law heard, through their mutual church, that she is in for 12 months. User Katie Lou comments, if you don't mind me asking, how did the situation with your friends resolve? Did they realize she's cray-cray? OP responds, I haven't spoken to them in months. I don't miss them anymore. User 12 Days Late comments, have you guys gotten to make good new friends? OP responds, quite a few actually. User Need a Venue comments, I hope you don't take your old friends back. Just thinking about the old posts get me riled up. OP responds, yeah, definitely not. I haven't spoken to those friends in months. User June Gloom comments, how did the prenatal paternity test get done? Was it court-ordered? Did she name the baby after your husband? Why did she cooperate with getting one done? OP responds, not totally sure how. It was a court-ordered prenatal DNA test. We actually had 2 meetings with her pastor, she goes to the same church as my mother-in-law, and has become crazy religious, at the suggestion of her editor. He turned out to be incredibly nice and helpful. He convinced her to do the test, so she did it with no qualms. So, manipulators like that, they'll wedge their way into a friend group, and if they have a target, like OP and her husband, they'll be mean to them, but so kind to everyone else. So then, you have the personal bias of, well, they're so nice to me and everyone else I talk to, so if they're mean to them, well, there's gotta be a reason for it, obviously. Because surely the person who's being nice to you isn't actually just secretly trying to use you for some reason or another. So the human brain begins doing some stupid shit. It 100% doesn't excuse their behavior, because if you're told, like, yeah, that person is my stalker, like, well, they just miss you. Yeah, they're my stalker! Like, if that conversation happens, and you explain exactly what's going on, with evidence, and they still choose their side, yeah, they're not a friend. Doesn't matter what kind of bullshit apology they might give you after they get arrested for violating a restraining order, or anything along those lines, because then it's, oh shit, I should have listened, but I chose not to. Like, you're telling me that this girl showed up in your lives, has a weird obsession with them, knows the paint color of their walls, talks about their dogs like they know them, and then starts telling you they're dealing meth and all this shit, people who you previously were really good friends with, and you just believed it at face value without ever talking to them? Yeah, no, that's not gonna fly. I wouldn't want to be friends with people who just, after hearing it from one random person that apparently I'm dealing meth, that, yeah, definitely, that makes sense. I'm not gonna investigate this any further, just gonna take it at face value. I don't want friends like that. And even if they didn't believe that, or believe the whole meth angle and just saw it as a tall tale, you still chose to hang out with someone who's telling other people that I deal drugs, and you're fine with that? Yeah, no, screw that. Also, K-Rad hit it right on the head with the fact that female stalkers aren't taken nearly as seriously as male stalkers, which oftentimes just enables the behavior even further. In the end though, I am so glad that OP is through with this situation, and I hope that because of the lack of updates in the past decade, that this is in fact concluded. This post was collected by Prickly Pearl. The original OP is Legal Trouble, July 2026, posted to r/legal advice, posted July 13th, 2026, titled Kansas, Arrested at Home. Spent the weekend in jail, and I'm very frustrated as I write this out. I took Friday off from work and slept in, decided to get a late breakfast, and discovered there's police on my other part of my property. My property is split with part being a vacant lot. My property is larger than typical lots. It used to be rural, but the city grew around it 30 years ago. That second part doesn't have a fence or gate and nothing has been built. All that's out there other than trees and a pond after a walk-in is a bench. Anyway, near the road on that part of my property was a car and motorcycles. They were running speed guns and pulling people over. I don't dislike police, but I don't want people on my property. It's marked with no trespassing signs and purple paint. So I pulled up and honked and told them they need to leave. They got real hostile right away and told me I was obstructing their activities. I told them multiple times to leave, and I admit I was getting upset. To make a long story short, they arrested me for trespassing and interfering with law enforcement and disobeying a lawful order. I asked how I could be trespassing, and they told me I wasn't allowed there. I told them it's my property, and no one was going to tell me I can't be on my property. They said I'm a liar, it's public property, and I wasn't allowed there. And they arrested me. I didn't get a bond until this morning, and I have court at the end of August. I called a bunch of lawyers, but I haven't had any luck getting a hold of one, so I left messages with their office. What should I be expecting? I know it's my property because I haven't sold it, and it's been mine since 2001 when my mother died. I grew up on it. It's mine. How can they do this? Location's Kansas, and edit to clear up some things. I don't know how to put a picture or I draw one. There's the road, then a sidewalk, then a space of grass where the street lights and utility lines run. Then my retaining wall and my property. The wall varies from about 8 to 16 feet tall above the sidewalk and utility area. It's a very large concrete wall that I pay to maintain, and an engineer says I'll need to have overhauled in the next 5 years. The cops with the motorcycles were down by the entrance, except for the one with the car. He was up east of the entrance, where it's high up and people can't see you from the road using his gun. The entrance has a sign on either side saying no trespassing private property. There is purple paint on the perimeter trees every so often. The entrance is the only way onto the property by vehicle. You can walk on there, of course, or on the other side if you go through an old unused rail yard. I've paid taxes on it the entire time. It's posted no trespassing, private property. I've had people removed from it. There are no utilities on that part of the property. There never will be. It's the original site of the family home from when my mother's family came to this country. The original house is gone. There's just a bench. Somewhere is the old family cemetery, but the markings were lost decades ago. I don't want to sue them. I don't want them on my property. I don't need money. I have money. I just don't want people on the property. Update, August 6th, 2026. Update to being arrested for trespassing on my own property in Kansas. Here's a link to the original. I posted about a while back about being arrested for trespassing on my own land. I have an update, and it feels like a lot, but maybe that's because I lived it. My attorney is great and has a good relationship with the attorneys involved. I got a survey done, and I was right. Everything above the sidewalk is mine, and the sidewalk and utility area, which is next to the road, which I apparently own that strip of land too on both sides of the road, but again, that's the easement, which has nothing to do with this. They were a good 20 feet past where the easement ends if you measure only horizontally, and about 80 feet up past the entrance to that lot. My criminal cases have been dismissed. Yes, plural. The original case I was arrested for, trespassing and interfering with law enforcement and disobeying a lawful order. I hired an attorney, and he spoke to the city prosecutor, and she dismissed the charges. Later in the week the first case was dismissed, I was pulled over by the main officer from the first case. He arrested me for what he called the Halo Law, which I had never even heard of. It's a law that says you have to give the cops a 25-foot halo buffer when they're working. This is for the same incident that the charges had been dismissed on. He told me proving I own the land didn't matter now because he could order me off my property or even my work or wherever I am if he wanted to while he's on duty. The Fourth Amendment would like to have a word with you, buddy. He said he could. It's like a restraining order, and he could walk wherever he was working, and I'd have to stay 25 feet away from him or go to jail. So he arrested me, and I spent a few hours in jail being booked in before I could get a bondsman. My glasses fell in the road when he arrested me. He shoved me against the car during the arrest, and I still don't have them back. I don't think he picked them up. I got a hold of my attorney, and he was pretty shocked, it seemed, to me. These charges went to the district attorney, and not the city prosecutor this time, which my attorney said was probably because the city dismissed it already and my paperwork from the jail listed not only unlawful approach, but again, disobeying a lawful order and interfering with law enforcement. He also had my vehicle towed when he arrested me. I had to pay the impound and tow fee for that. My lawyer got that case dismissed too, just today. My lawyer said he can't believe the officer would arrest me again. I think I might sue, but my lawyer said he doesn't do lawsuits, only criminal law, so I'll have to find another one. He said he'd have some names for me to check. Oh, please fucking do. I'm glad that he got my case dismissed, but angry and frustrated this officer can just arrest me whenever he wants. Between the survey and the attorney, I had to spend a bit. Nothing life-changing or anything like that, 4 figures only, but I don't think this is right. I don't know if it's worth the hassle. I just want this officer to leave me alone. Yeah, see, this is when you start bringing the hammer down, getting the local news involved, and even getting a Freedom of Information Act to get the body cam footage and just as much as you possibly can to pretty much just bury his ass because he's just making shit up at this point in time. He can't just unlawfully seize your property on a means of, oh, well, I'm operating here in 25 feet. That's not how the Fourth Amendment works. It's literally the Fourth. Do you know what comes before that? Freedom of speech, freedom to own a firearm, the Third Amendment, which pretty much exists because they were so pissed off about what the British using their homes to house soldiers during the Revolutionary War, that they created an amendment just to pretty much just kneecap the bastards out of spite. And it forbids that the government is able to use your home to house soldiers at any given time. Without permission, of course. Which the Third Amendment's also really interesting when it pops up because it's been used only a few times in its entire existence, to my knowledge. And when it does pop up, it is a really interesting loophole that ends up hitting something in the kneecaps. But then, after that one, you have the Fourth Amendment, which pretty much just spits in this officer's face because he's just fucking lying. I mean, yeah, technically he can arrest you for whatever he believes he can because Supreme Court. We can all thank Hygh versus North Carolina where the cops don't actually need to know the law in order to enforce it, which is, not great and allows the cop to recite things like the Halo law, which I'm sure probably does kind of exist in some way or another, but not the way that he's describing it. But that's okay, it's just a reasonable misunderstanding of the law, as stated in the Supreme Court decision. Isn't that great? So yeah, at this point, buddy, I know in your first update you weren't looking to sue, but in the second one you were looking for it. I think you should. I really think you should. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77. And their tagline is, Satan is not a fucking pogo stick. I'll always censor it because I feel like it's needed, but I'm gonna have this one after the Kansas one, so it should work out just fine. Anyways, the original OP is Throwaway, 9191910, posted July 28th, 2014. Immediate content warning for body shaming in a hostile workplace. My, 24 female, coworkers are bullying me over my weight and eating, and HR refuses to do anything. Throwaway because I feel pathetic writing this and I'm not sure whether I'm completely overreacting or not. Sorry about the horrible grammar / spelling / longness. I've worked for a helpline for the past 5 years. It's a small, specialized helpline, so there's only around 12 to 15 people on the floor at once, plus 6 office staff, an HR manager, an assistant, admin, and payroll staff. Due to timetabling, we take our breaks in our teams. In my team, there's myself, Julie, 23 female, Sally, 35-ish, and Joanne, 45-ish. Julie and Joanne are overweight, while Sally is very obese. Joanne has been with the company since the beginning and is besties with the HR manager. About 6 months ago, I started to bring a packed lunch to save money, rather than buying from the fast food place next door to take back to the canteen. Ever since I stopped going with my team to buy lunch, they've started some sort of weird vendetta against my weight and eating habits. It started off by commenting on my lunch, typically pasta or meat and fish, rice and a vegetable. Every day, they started making snidey remarks about what I was eating. They'd say that it looked disgusting, / how they don't know why I'm eating the rabbit food crap, / rather be fat than starve themselves, etc. They also started to say how I thought I was better than them, / deliberately trying to make them feel bad, despite me never, ever mentioning their weight or diets. I tell them that I enjoyed that dish, / that I wasn't on a diet. Despite this, they'd still make comments about starving myself / being a rabbit, even after seeing me eat. They'd also make comments about how lucky you skinny bitches are that you can eat anything you want. They'd say these things every single day. They'd stop when I asked, but I'd ask them time and time again not to make comments like that. And the next day, they would. I'd ignore this, and to be honest, it didn't bother me that much. Then they moved on to insulting my body. They'd make comments about how skinny I am, that my arms look like twigs, I shouldn't lose any more weight. They told me I'd never get a boyfriend until I put on weight, and would talk about celebrities with bodies similar to mine, saying how disgusting and boyish they looked. I've gained weight since I started eating better. I'm an 8 UK, but I'm very fit / athletic, and have clear muscle definition with no bones sticking out. I do not look underweight, by any means. I'd tell them not to make comments about my body, that I felt it was hurtful and inappropriate. They'd stop, tutting, rolling their eyes, and mumbling under their breath about how I was being dramatic, and shoot each other looks. Again, this continued. One day, about a month ago, I told them that they wouldn't like it if I made comments like that to them, only to be told that being told you're skinny is a good thing. You can't be bullied for being skinny. I reiterated that I found it upsetting and didn't want them mentioning my food / eating / weight, and that I would take things further if it continued. To be honest, it was an empty threat, and I chose instead to eat lunch outside, alone. They'd still make comments during work. The job involves some web chat / emailing, so we often have downtime to chat. Anyway, as time has gone on, they got worse and worse. 2 days ago, I was talking to a girl from another team about the pizza I had the night before, and overheard Sally joking that I probably threw it straight back up. The final straw was today. There's building work going on opposite my building, so I've decided to have lunch in the canteen today to avoid the noise and dust. Joanne, Sally, and Julie decided to hold an intervention for my eating disorder. Like I mentioned above, I do not look underweight, and they've seen me eat pretty much every day for 5 years. This was purely malicious. I basically lost it and yelled at them. My team leader was in the canteen at the time and took me into the corridor. She told me if I was having problems to take it to HR. She was supportive and said she'd noticed they were jealous and being mean to me, but there wasn't anything she could do about it as it was an HR issue. So I went to HR. As I mentioned at the beginning, Joanne is best friends with the HR manager. I told the HR manager everything, to have her tell me I was wasting her time, and that skinny shaming wasn't real, and that everything they said was meant as a compliment. I asked to file a complaint, and she refused. I can't remember the rules for making complaints exactly, we'll check the code of conduct tomorrow when I go in, but from memory, it's the same as warnings, e.g. I have to give verbal, written, final complaints before things can escalate above HR. I rather pathetically stormed out of her office and left work for the day. I'm at a loss what to do now. I've spoken to my coworkers in HR to be told that this problem is not a problem, and they won't do anything about it. I'm trying to go through the proper channels, and I'm being denied. I have in the past asked to swap break times and been told I can't due to timetabling. I'm planning on asking to switch to another team. I'm job hunting, but I live in an area with high unemployment, and so I don't want to leave my job without having another in its place. Am I blowing this out of proportion? I feel like such a pathetic little child. Too Long Didn't Read coworkers are skinny shaming me daily. HR is best friends with one and refuses to file a complaint for me. Update. August 3rd, 2014, 6 days later. I want to start off by thanking everyone for their comments. I really wasn't expecting such a response. A few people advised me to record my coworkers. We aren't allowed phones on the floor due to data protection laws. We are allowed them in the canteen, but as our lockers are downstairs, I usually just grab it on my way out for a lunchtime cigarette. Check it outside, then put it in my locker on my way back up. I'm obviously going to start taking it in the canteen now. Some of this might be out of order, so bear with me. So to start off, I logged as many incidents as I could remember exactly into a little diary. I actually managed to remember quite a lot, using texts, messages, food plans for the dates and details. Tuesday morning, I'm outside smoking before my shift, and my line manager joins me. She asks if I'm okay and what happened with HR. I tell her, and she told me she expected as much and that I should take it higher, and she would back me up. She also tells me that we're bidding for a government contract, which would mean a lot of opportunities, and so I need to stick around. Go to start my shift, and as advised, sent the HR manager an email about how I was again requesting she file an official complaint, including details, and made sure to mention things like hostile working environment and harassment, and mentioned I logged events and had witnesses. About 30 seconds after I sent the email, the HR manager comes onto the floor and asks me into her office. When we're there, she asks me what the email was about, and I pretty much repeat it word for word. I ask her what she's going to do, and she says she'll file the complaint and speak to my coworkers. I go back to my desk and email her, asking for the notes from our meeting. She replies saying, I'll talk to them. Later on that day, a non-evil coworker makes a joke about how milky my tea was, and Joanne says, oh, careful, you don't want to get done for bullying her. It's very clear that the HR manager has just told my coworkers about the issues rather than talk to them. Our director comes in on a Wednesday, so before I leave work, I email her and ask if I can speak to her when she comes in. The next day comes, and she finds me on the floor and asks me to go to her office on my break. I tell her everything, making sure to include all the buzzwords and about HR's lack of help. I also insinuated that I had taken legal advice. I felt as though the director also didn't believe in skinny shaming and seemed pissed off at me for bringing it to her. But since she thought I'm gonna sue them, she seemed to take it seriously. She said she'd speak to HR and make sure this was resolved. Thursday, I meet my line manager outside for a cigarette before work, and she tells me that after I'd finished my shift, I work 32 hours a week, Julie and Sally and Joanne work 40, so they usually start and finish a bit earlier/later, that she'd been called into a disciplinary meeting with each of the coworkers. Line manager tells me that while Julie and Joanne were apologetic in their meetings, Sally wasn't. Instead of accepting the warning and agreeing not to continue, she tried to blame it on me, claimed that I was purposely bringing in packed lunches to shame her and how I was rubbing my body in her face, not literally, and trying to make her feel bad about herself. She also claimed it was ridiculous and that thin people couldn't be bullied or receive negative comments. Julie and Joanne received verbal warnings, and Sally received a written one, as she'd had a previous warning from her attendants. Next step is final, then fired. Later that day, Joanne comes up to me and apologizes, tells me she didn't realize that she was being offensive, was being motherly, and got caught up. I had told her several times when she made comments it was offensive, and so I felt like she was pinning it all on Sally, who I do believe is the ringleader, but the other two are grown women and responsible for their own actions. Julie has so far ignored the topic but been a lot friendlier. I've seen Sally trying to goad the other two into bad behavior. We work in a paperless office, and as we're a very specific helpline, we have a lot of downtime, so we tend to stalk the Daily Mail website, which isn't exactly the most female body-friendly publication out there. Several times, Sally has asked if the other two have seen the pictures of certain celebrities with body types like mine, e.g., ugh, did you see that photo Miley Cyrus posted in a bikini? How horrible did she look? I've had the impression that she's been trying to get the other girls to trash talk those bodies so she can still be mean to me in a passive-aggressive way, without actually saying anything herself. Then again, I could be reading into it too much, but I honestly don't care anymore. It's very clear Sally is a bitter woman projecting her own insecurities on me. So, it looks like a happy ending. I'll make sure to log any further incidents and bring them to HR. Thank you, Reddit. I love you all. Too Long Didn't Read took my case to the company director. HR finally issued warnings. Joanne and Julie have stopped. I suspect Sally is trying to encourage them to act up, but I've risen above even caring now. Body shaming comes in all shapes and sizes. Pun slightly intended, I suppose. You can't just discount one side of the coin because the other side is more prevalent in culture, which is exactly what was happening. Even if you want to play the round of, oh, skinny shaming doesn't exist, which it does, there's still the fact that you have a group of coworkers who the three of them are harassing one coworker over choices that she's making, which is to literally just bring a packed lunch to save money. And despite being asked numerous times to stop their comments, they have continued. Even without using the definition of body shaming, it's still a hostile workplace and it's still harassment, no matter how you want to try to phrase it or shake it. And the fact that it literally took OP giving a hint, hint, nudge, nudge, I've sought out legal advice for them to actually do something, that's pretty shameful. Keep in mind, HR's job is to prevent the company from being sued, and if you give them even an inkling of an idea that you've sought out legal advice for an issue that HR doesn't seem to be taken seriously, they'll start taking you seriously now. Although I would be curious though if a company would still be liable if it's like, yeah, you guys are only taking this seriously because I'm getting legal representation for a problem that you declined to fix. Would you still be able to actually sue them for that? For them only taking a problem seriously when you've decided to actually seek out legal advice and legal action? I feel like you should be able to. Well, it's the outro, and we're here together. I was actually kind of shocked to hear how many of you wanted to hear the car rant that I wanted to do yesterday, so I'm gonna put that here, basically, or redo the rant, essentially. Don't forget, GamerSups, use code OZ at checkout. That's right, I get a transition from pushing code OZ, giving you 10% off, right into a car rant, because my sponsor, all they care about is I don't get them sued. Which, honestly, that's pretty fucking cool for a sponsor to have that kind of opinion. They actually understand what makes working with creators unique, and that's pretty cool. Anyways, the car rant about Mercedes. So, Daimler/Mercedes/Mercedes-Benz nowadays, they've decided that for a car that's going to cost over $100,000, what should the interior be? Well, BMW decided to have, hand-carved pieces of wood that would go in there that have open pore. Bentley, Aston Martin, Porsche, pretty much all of those higher-end brands, all of their interiors have very nice wood paneling that go along the dash. Feels good to look at. Doesn't look like you're actually in some kind of weird iPad baby brain mobile. What did Mercedes decide to do? This. Just iPad baby brain from driver's side to passenger side. It just doesn't look good. It looks bad. Mercedes has thankfully rolled it back a bit with their newer models, which looks like this. Doesn't look bad, but it still doesn't look great. I'm so tired of car companies, from like Cadillac to Audi to pretty much most of them nowadays, just taking the approach of, rather than actually having a shaped interior that looks good and looks like it has the price value point that you're paying for, instead they just go for baby brain screens, which, like, it just doesn't look good. Like, if I was 16 or 17, I'd think this is the coolest shit ever, but like, I guess as an adult, I look at this and I'm just like, damn, they are really just degrading how good an interior can look. It also doesn't help that most EVs nowadays, they've just decided, oh, you know what'll be great? A smooth, pebbled design. So all of Mercedes' new vehicles just look like they grabbed a Riverstone and just drew the Mercedes logo on it and called it good. It's just boring. I could probably go on a fun rant about each brand and each car company if I really wanted to, from Cadillac to BMW to Audi to Mercedes to Jeep to, well, Chrysler, or what's left of them nowadays, Maserati, especially Maserati. Yeah, no, there's not a single car brand that I'm not willing to just drag through the mud. Even my golden child, BMW. I have my problems with that brand, that's for damn sure. You're not fucking safe from my criticism, nuh-uh-uh. Y'all motherfuckers took all the design language away from BMW and pretty much released the 2026 Pontiac Firebird. Like, look at these two side by side. This doesn't look like a BMW, it just looks like a Trans Am, which, it still is a good design, it's just not a BMW. Get your identity crisis in check, BMW, good God. Anyways, that's the 3-minute car rant, because a lot of you said you would have liked that, so I just put it in the outro of this video and, hey, screw it. Don't forget, GamerSups, use code OZ at checkout if you guys enjoyed more of these random tangents and rants. I'll be sure to add them, because it's just 3 minutes of bullshit, pretty much, and it adds to the video pad time, and YouTube really likes it when I do that. So yeah, catch y'all later.